Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 2 of Dinner with Jay-Z. We hope that you enjoyed our last episode. And here are your hosts, myself, Jasmine, and Zena. Once again, do you get it? Jay-Z. I'm Jasmine Therese. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jasmine Therese. You know me. I pretend to write a blog. It's called The Island Queen Guide. We'll see how things going. I need to renew my subscription, so I don't even know if it's up right now. But yeah, I'm passionate about talking about money and career and women in the workplace and things like that, you know.
And I am Zena. I can be found on social at Kiss My Elite, on my website at a2z.com, and now I have a new website, criminallyunderpaid.com.
That's fire.
Because we all are criminally underpaid. Like my original website, A to Z Sounds, I talk about a little bit of everything. I like books, cooking, makeup, money, salary, all that. Because our show is still fairly new, you guys know what Dinner with Jay-Z is. Would you rather $100,000 or Dinner with Jay-Z?
I feel like the amount of money changes every time people pose the question.
Okay, so today, y'all want $250,000?
Yes. Yeah.
Or Dinner with Jay-Z, because you guys are here.
Jay-Z them vegan. I don't even want it. Like, with
eat like cauliflower wings.
First of all, it's not cauliflower wings. Just call it breaded cauliflower, because that's what it is. Don't lie to the people, because if you give me a plate and say this wings and that's what come, I turn the whole table over.
All things matter, babe.
No, they do not.
$250,000 matter. That's cool.
But you're here with us tonight, Tammy, so you chose Dinner with Jay-Z.
Yeah, so our show, once again, if you did not listen to our first episode, essentially this is just a show where we kind of recap or go more in depth on questions and conversations that come up on Twitter and the internet in general, having to do with money and work, especially, now that Zena dropped her website. We now get to see who making what. And I mean, if you was the person making $375,000, do you want a girlfriend? Yes or no? Do you want to? I will come along for the ride. I just can cook and things like that. We can't do nothing.
I feel you. So for today's episode, we are not alone. We have Tammy.
Dun, 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 dun,
Tammy.
dun, dun.
Hi, I'm Tammy.
Tammy is here, and she's here to talk about financial literacy. She has a blog called Cays to Coins, which is also on Twitter and Instagram, and I love it, and I share it a lot. So introduce yourself to the people, Tammy.
Hi, everyone. I am Tammy. Tammi Butler. I have a master's in international business economics. My bachelor's is in banking and finance. I don't want to say what high school I went to, so
no.
Gee, you shaming.
I shame, but people like to call me the reject, so
It's okay. You're a few years removed.
But so my background is in finance, money, investments, compliance, risk management, you name it. And so I started my blog, Cays to Coins, when that was last year. Yes. Last year, I originally started writing for Jasmine's pretend website. Started 2017. I sat down and I was like, hey, I want to write about money. And Jasmine was like, I have a website. And I was like, okay, I will send you stuff. Then I branched out to do my own thing last year, mainly because, that was a thing that I always wanted to do. I just wanted my website just to be about money.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
me.
So I have a question. Zena and I, we are more in the creative field or industry. And I like to ask people who don't do creative jobs, like, how did you even what made you decide to take up banking and finance?
Boy, that's a good question.
I would think so.
So I was in high school, and grades 10 through 12 they make you pick an elective, and one of my electives was economics, and I liked it. When I filled out my application for COB, well, it's UB now, but when I filled out my application for COB, I was like, I guess banking and finance, and that's literally it.
Econ wasn't there?
Econ was there, but I didn't want to major in economics.
That makes sense. Because,
Right.
I mean, honestly, what you was going to do?
Yeah.
I like money. I like to make
Who does
money,
not?
and I like to learn about money. And the courses just seemed exciting to me at the time. So I started at COB. I wasn't 100% sure that that's the major I wanted to stick with, but I learned a lot, especially like in the first 2 years. And I was like, you know what? I think this is what I'm going to stick with. And then how I ended up writing. So like my third year of college, I started interning at a local commercial bank. And I found myself very sad some days, like dealing with customers. So I used to deal with a lot of 60 plus clients. And they would come in and, man, the service is just so sad. Like they would complain that, I took out this loan for like $10,000. I know I didn't pay $10,000 back. Why the bank still calling me? Why I still have a balance? So they didn't understand like the concept of interest,
Yeah.
right? You had persons who didn't understand how to use a credit card. They don't understand why they're getting late fees, why they're getting 18% interest on their credit card. And like, to me, these are things that I know. Whether, I learned from home, learned in school, these are things that I know. And I was just like, I thought this thing was supposed to be common knowledge.
No, definitely
You know,
Absolutely
and I had
not.
to understand that I had kind of an advantage. And it made me sad. And so I always had from then, like 18, 19, that I wanted to teach people how to handle their money. I'm not a financial advisor. So I really could sit down and...
Use our financial advisor, though.
Yeah, I do it for friends and family, I do it for friends and family.
That's
But
accurate.
I think if persons can understand at least the terminology, so that when they sit down and they read through a contract with a loan officer, and the loan officer starts spitting out these big words, they could at least follow along.
Yeah.
And so, at the end of the day, you don't feel like, wow, I just get swinged right. And like people straight out of the gate making these huge financial decisions, and they don't know how it's going to impact them.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
very nice.
Yeah.
I love it. So, Tammi,
Mm-hmm.
since you're new to our show, we usually start it off with a this or that.
I love how you say we usually like to say episode 2. I just love that. I love that.
I mean-
just sound like we've been here like 6 episodes, and this what we is do. This what we is
We
do.
might be new to this show,
Mm-hmm.
but we are true to this concept. We do this. Come on. So we started with this or that.
Mm-hmm.
So Tammi,
Okay.
we all answer.
Mhm.
Would you rather a debit card, a credit card, or cash?
Credit card.
Credit card all day. All day.
You need to know why, or we just...
Yeah, I mean, we do a little bit of explaining and quick fire. So if you want to explain, go ahead because you are the professional here.
Okay. Well, I'll just quickly say it. Credit card, because that's the bank money. Something go wrong, somebody, hack into whatever system the bank have. When I file a complaint, I could leave that there. Like I will cut the credit card if I have to. I
don't know which one I am. I feel like I mostly use my debit card, but a lot of people tell me that's dumb. So maybe I
It
need to
ain't
stop.
dumb. It's not dumb.
It's not dumb.
But it's just. I think. It
It's
depends.
wiser.
It's only wiser if you know. If you have self control.
Mm-hmm.
I
And if
really
you know
only
how
use
to
my
use
credit
your
card for
card.
travel.
Right.
So
Right. So
I don't know. Okay, so saving before bills or saving after bills?
Saving before
Before.
bills.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Savings or investments?
Investments.
Investments. Definitely.
Yes.
Investments.
Paying bills weekly or monthly?
Monthly.
I mean, I get paid monthly, so
So it only makes sense. It's easier.
everything just gets.
I mean,
paid.
even if I was getting paid weekly, I was doing it monthly. Just one time, like
Yeah.
a one-time thing.
Okay, short-term savings or long-term?
Long term.
Long term. I mean, what even is a short term saving?
I mean,
I understand, right? Like,
Right.
okay, I have a trip coming up, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try
but
to hurry up to this too.
but long term, I feel like long term is really where your financial goals are at. So short term is like they
Everybody-
might fun things.
I mean,
and,
everybody
you
doesn't
know.
really have financial goals per se. So,
That's true.
you know. So now that we've gotten that out of the way,
Mm-hmm.
Jasmine, what do you want to talk about first?
I think one of the things people always try to explore or they're curious about when they first start thinking about wanting to get better at money is budgeting. So, what advice or what are the most basic steps someone can take when they are considering budgeting? And how do we destigmatize budgeting? People think it's very negative.
So I guess I'll start with the negative aspect of it. I know a lot of persons think, and I understand why, right? I know a lot of persons think that budgeting has a bad rep.
I hate it.
I know for some people it's like, oh, all these rich financial gurus always telling me to budget, like that's supposed to help me if I ain't making enough money to get to where I want to be, you
That's
know?
accurate.
And so I get it. I get that budgeting has a bad rep in that sense of the word. But honestly, it's just a plan, babe.
Mm-hmm.
It's a plan. When you're going away, you plan your trip. You know what hotel and car you're going to be using. It's just a plan, you know. So in terms of getting ready to budget, you want to map out your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
How much does it cost to be Jasmine Therese? Like, ask yourself that question. How much
Too
does
much
it cost
money, boy.
to be Zena?
Too much.
Like,
And also not enough, if that even makes sense. It's like,
It depends on the day.
it depends on the month.
Yeah.
So like, I just came off a trip.
Mhm.
I didn't budget for that trip.
Mhm.
We just,
Ball out of control.
I was winging it. I mean, I wasn't even balling out of control because we didn't even really go shop. But I did not shop at all.
Yeah,
So much
that's
so
not-
that the customs officer didn't even believe me when I told her I had nothing to declare. She looks at my Nike slides, what I got for Christmas, and it's like, well, it looked like you bring something. I was like, ma'am,
Please close
no.
the suitcase.
leave me alone, please. But we just went, we ate. Now, naturally, I have a dining out budget. Now, I jacked that one up because we ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner
Every day.
every day. You in other people's country, you ain't keeping no bunch of grocery in the fridge and things like that. And I'm not cooking when I away. No, I do that. I do enough of that when I home. So yeah, I mean,
yeah.
but let's just say I'm not traveling and I'm not doing something extravagant like celebrating someone's birthday or anything like that. I have a good idea of
On a
everything,
normal day.
everything I spend on a
Right.
regular day. And like I said, like I will save first. So tithes, savings, bills. What I have left
That's me.
is what we doing. However, even with what I have left, I gotta deal with grocery. And certain things like getting my nails done, getting
Getting
a
a
wax.
wax.
All of those things you have to put in the budget.
yes.
Yeah.
Because you may spend up all your money and then don't have the money for the wax. Now look at you. It's Valentine's.
And you look like little.
Like a little
That's accurate.
But I don't think it's something negative. Like for me, I don't view it as negative. It literally is.
It's just a plan.
Yeah.
It's literally just a plan.
I don't
Now,
think
it's
I
not.
view it as negative so much as depressing.
Hmm.
I don't think it's depressing. I think so. Usually for me, when I start up my budget, I usually go with a zero balance budget, which means I try to allocate
Every single day.
every single dollar. So that means wax, hair, nails, whatever whatever I know I want to do during that month is allocated for.
Okay.
And so at the end, it seems like, oh, you only have $0, but I then allocate to savings if I want to make any investments during the month. Basically everything, groceries, I then know, and someone like me, I've been budgeting for years now. So sometimes I don't necessarily have to actually write it out. It's mentally already all there, right? Of course, we keep it in a running spreadsheet, but I already know, okay, I know I need to spend this on that, this on my wax, I need my eyebrows done, I need, my car, need to get fixed, but It's really just a plan. And it's not the only tool out there financially. It's not the only tool that can help you get to where you want to be. It's just one tool. And so really when you're thinking about budgeting, you think about, the things that you need. Write it out. If you're a first time budgeter, write it out. What do you need? And when I say need, I mean from rent, food, map out your lifestyle, and then things that you want. What are the things that I usually have to do every month? That's not necessarily a need, but I want it, and it helps my life to be better. We don't need waxes, but we need them, right?
I need it for my self-esteem.
We don't need, you don't need it to survive, but you need it. So it's technically a want.
Yeah.
But you put it all down. Like, it's just a plan. And I get it, but I don't get it. I don't get why persons are so budget averse.
Because they don't want to see
the money going out.
Right. And I know a lot of persons like to say, oh, we're not making enough money. I feel you. Right? I feel you. I feel like that all the time as well. But I have budgeted, at least I've helped other persons put their budget together, and they found where they had missing money.
I did that too for,
yes.
And it's not for everybody.
Well,
this is not for everyone.
Tammi did my budget once. This is not now, though. She did my budget, and when I showed my mom told me I need another job.
But the thing is that, for me, when I hear people say, oh, I don't make enough money to budget, I think budgeting is key to also understand that you need another job.
Yes.
Either you need an additional job or you need to find a job that just pays you more money. But at the end of the day, once you have it all laid out, you are not fooling yourself anymore to think that you could actually afford the lifestyle that you've been living.
Exactly. With your
That's why
salary.
I use cry every payday, especially if it take them too long to pay you, because you don't even know where your money going. You're around here spending all your money on hot party and things like that.
And I think budgeting also gets a bad rap because a lot of people do it wrong. They're not realistic.
So how should we do it?
Like, people don't be realistic.
No, they're being idealistic.
Right. So I know if I'm laying out the wants and needs and everything that I need for the month or whatever the case may be, if I know religiously every month I go into to my hairdresser to get my hair washed, and I don't put it down on my budget, and then like I miss and spend that someplace else, like, and then I get mad at myself. I get mad at who?
You just have to wash your hair at home.
No, but I mean, like,
And look stink at work.
That's fine.
Because you never learn how to curl your own hair.
and then sometimes people
Jasmine, why you dragging me?
You was curly. Hey.
I don't know that thing's in my hair, actually.
I wasn't even talking about you. I wasn't even talking about none of the natural girls.
Yeah.
I was talking about the perm girls.
And
It's
then
rough
too, a
out
lot
there.
of people like to live above what they make. And I get it that we all aspire to live a certain way. But if it's not within your budget, I mean.
But if they don't have a budget, they don't necessarily know that it's not within their budget.
So they could buy bottles in the club, but then next week they can't even buy rice.
Yeah, right. And so, like, where are your priorities?
In the club.
I'm on Instagram letting you know that I have this money.
Exactly.
But next week, you ain't gonna never see what I post because I'm
Right.
home hungry.
Right. And so,
Well, also, I mean,
I saved a
I'm
couple
saying that
pictures.
you
What you
can't
talking
live,
about,
you know.
Jasmine?
I'm saying that you can't live.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're somebody who's trying to be more financially aware, plan out how you live. Plan it.
I think so too.
Plan it. And who knows, later on you might make that 6-figure salary and you could live more lavishly. You could.
But I think too, like, one of the things why I do really believe in budgeting, if I know how, and I used to budget from I was making $225 a week at my very first job.
Mm-hmm.
I was budgeting from then. So I knew, okay, I need to save this much, whatever. I mean, it was only pennies what I was saving, but I still was making sure I saved something. But I feel like if you don't know how to manage your money when you're only making a little bit, you will not know how to manage your money when you're making more.
Yeah.
You just can multiply the amount of things and the amount of money that you spend doing certain stuff. So, okay, now you have a 6-figure salary. You freaking yourself out and you going to Paris
Yep.
for lunch. That's dumb.
To
I
you,
think that's realistic.
To
though.
you.
That's realistic. But like I have met people who making money,
Mm-hmm.
who are our age set, and they have nothing to show for it. Nothing to show
not
for it.
even a house. Not even a car.
Maybe a car, but
They with a bank.
yes.
They ain't
So
not
not
that
even
then.
that.
And so that's my thing. Like, you know,
Kind of
you
that
you want to start positioning yourself
Yes.
to be more financially aware,
Mm-hmm.
to understand your financial situation, and not just that. Budgeting and understanding your financial situation, it kind of helps you to understand what types of financial products working for you, you know, or what will work for you at least.
What's a financial product?
So a financial product is any type of vehicle that you use to put your money in. So for example, a financial product could be separated into loans.
Mm-hmm.
So your loans, you know, your personal loans, your mortgage, credit card. You could have accounts. That's a product. So your savings accounts, checking accounts, fixed accounts, ASU accounts, and then you have your investment accounts. So you have your investment products. Your insurance products are also financial products. So your life insurance, car insurance, house insurance, health insurance, all of those are financial products as well.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to understand your situation, it'll kind of help you to pinpoint what type of financial products will work for you. So if you say, for example, okay, I want to start investing, I need to start looking at financial products. And you say, you know, I only have this small amount of money, but I really want to get my feet wet.
Mm-hmm.
You could be young and you might have all the time in the world, so you might think you could go into some riskier financial product. But if you don't have a lot of money, you might want to start off a little, you know, a little less risky
Mm-hmm.
to understand the playing field a little better.
Yeah.
Mapping out your budget also helps you to pinpoint your goals. You might realize that, okay, I don't have enough money. It's not necessarily because I'm not making enough money. It's because all my money tied up in debt. You know? And so now one of your financial goals from your budget and understanding your lifestyle may be, okay, I need to lower my debt.
Yeah.
Because you could make more money. You could make 6 figures, but if your debt is also 6 figures and you paying out a good chunk of your 6 figures to pay off the debt,
Mm-hmm.
it always feel like you have no money.
Yeah. Especially with those interest rates.
So in that case, it might not necessarily mean that you're not making enough. It might mean that you weren't
just
quite
have a lot of debt.
wise, and it's not necessarily that you were being dumb. You know, everybody had times when they wasn't really
Mm-hmm.
financially savvy.
Yeah, and some people just don't know.
Right. It's you just don't know, and so you got to be easy on yourself. But what a budget does, especially like over time, once you really start understanding your habits, your lifestyle, and stuff like that, you might pinpoint that I'm making enough money, but I just is a bad spender. But like
Mm-hmm.
That's me.
I'm a bad spender,
That's me.
and so that's why I really advocate for budgeting. Like it's not just I can wake up and I can get rich quick off of
Yeah.
making this budget, but being able to understand yourself, your money, being able to look at it and be like, you know what, I need to be making more. Let me find out how I can, or I'm making enough. I need to pay on some debt,
Mm-hmm.
or I spend horribly. You know, I know I spend bad.
So for
Same.
people who, maybe they want to try budgeting,
Mhm.
I do believe that you have a template.
I do. On my website, keystocoins.com. That's CAYSTOCOINS.com.
And it's $3.99.
It's $4.99.
And I
It's
have it
$4.99. I have it.
on my
It's
laptop.
in PDF, a fillable PDF, and it automatically calculates certain sections. I'm also going to be putting it up in Excel, mainly because I realized like persons with MacBooks might not be able to. It's not compatible
Oh.
with everybody's computer.
Okay.
But it's a very simple. I hope it's simple. Budget worksheet.
It is. I downloaded
There are
it.
some instructions on the website on how to use it. Oh, thank you.
Yes.
I
I was one of the downloads.
But it's really just to kind of help people get started.
Mm-hmm.
I'm big on journaling as well. Journal all of your plans, your goals. And I'm not telling, and I hope people don't take anything that I say the wrong way. You know, I'm not saying that you don't deserve a good life. I'm just saying, to get there, you might have to do some planning.
Yeah.
But also, the world is crumbling, so treat yourself.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's not budgeting. Don't mean you don't treat yourself. It just
Exactly.
means you
your treat
allocate money
your
to
treat
treat
just
yourself.
might be a little smaller, you know? It might
Right.
be a cupcake instead of a trip.
Yeah, you just, for me, it's like, you know that you at some point will want to dine out or whatever, go to a party or buy a friend a gift or something like that, and just put that in your budget.
Yep.
Especially if you
Yes.
know you got a budget for the next month. You
And the
look at
next.
what's going on in the month. If you decide not to budget and you got 6 birthdays coming up in 1 month,
Y'all
you
get-
ain't even prepare yourself
Y'all
for
y'all are getting a cake.
no, but everybody having a birthday dinner. Tina, now what you doing? You spending $700 to $800 on dinner,
dinners.
Yep. That
in
you
the
didn't
month.
plan for.
and you didn't plan for that.
Right.
But you
You
can't
just
tell
ain't-
your friends no.
You just ain't pay your rent.
I
What are
mean,
you talking
mind
about?
you, it ain't easy to always plan for every single thing that life throws your way. But I've learned that over time, budgeting and tracking your expenses and stuff like that, it kind of helps you, like, mentally, you already know, okay, well, this thing came up. You don't even have to look at your budget sometimes. You just know, okay, I could use this money to go here for now. And I could always kind of swap places with the money. So it's not necessarily that, okay, I wrote my budget. I say I put $25 to go to Fusion. I have to go to Fusion. Not necessarily, but like you just saying, as of this moment, this is what I would like to do for the month. You know?
So I know that you touched on managing debt, especially once you go through your budget and you realize, okay, my debt is eating up a lot of my income.
Mm-hmm.
How do we manage that? Like, what advice would you give me? Let's say, okay,
Let's say I have $10,000 credit card debt.
child.
I mean, I don't have any debt personally because I already know I am a horrible spender, so I try not to take on any debt because I just rather spend my money. I know I like to shop, that's my thing. But let's say a person has like $10,000 credit card debt, maybe they have
A personal loan.
a little $7,000 personal loan. They probably making a little $30,000 a month. No, a year.
Okay.
Not a month.
I
Not a
was
month.
about
Not
to
a
say
month.
a little.
They're probably making a little, $30,000 a year. This $70,000 right now in debt. They have another credit card, $5,000. How you want them to pay that down?
How
So-
much rent they have?
I don't know what rent is being
With all
now
that debt.
because I feel like I
They
have a
live at
decent deal. Their rent is $800.
They rent is $800, and if they already have that debt, they also have one little thing at
Yeah.
Furniture Plus that they didn't give you
They-
that
right.
information.
Right. So, okay. So let me start off by saying this so that anything that I say after it, nobody catch feelings.
She's not a professional. Don't write these things down and say, well, Tammy, tell me this what to do, and it didn't work.
Right. You could try it.
This
But
part
this is very
this
loose
part
advice.
We have always
Very,
said
very
it's
loose advice.
Informational, but it's entertainment.
But
Real talk.
I'd
All
say, first and foremost, if you are somebody that did rack up debt and you're listening to this podcast, please don't beat yourself up. Especially if you already realize that, okay, I have a problem and I need to fix it. Don't beat yourself up. People make some weird financial decisions. Sometimes just because they didn't know, or sometimes out of necessity. I don't know people's personal financial situations. And sometimes life happens, babe. Life happens. But I would say start looking at your options. Like if you are somebody who's trying to get out of debt, for one, try not to rack up anymore. Just make up your mind now that you don't want to deal with that. But I'd say first things first. Write it out. Write out how many debt products that you have. Write out the interest rates. If you are behind on anything, you need to write that out as well. Because when you go to ask somebody for help, you need to have these things ready to go.
Yeah.
Print off your statements, the latest statements, to try and create a plan. Now, if you are somebody who was bogged down deep in debt to your eyeballs, kind of like how Zena mentioned it, you might need some professional help.
You think 17,000 is deep?
No, I
in
thought.
debt to your eyeball?
Well, I mean, you started just listening off a bunch of things. I wasn't counting the numbers. You started listening off a bunch of things.
No, it's like $22,000.
I mean, it could be deep. That could be deep in debt for plenty of people.
Yeah, because it depends. Like, do they have kids?
Yeah.
Do they pay rent?
Yeah,
Are they the only
$800 rent.
person paying rent? Do they
Probably.
also? So if you also have kids, how much that means you spending on grocery?
Right. That
You
could be a
understand?
lot of.
Like
I mean,
all of those
honestly, the
That could
thing
be.
things.
is,
That could be
me
deep in
as a
debt.
single person, no kids, I spend a lot of money on groceries, but that's because I like to try a lot of
Right.
recipes. The people be watching them, but my grocery bill is ridiculous.
But that could be deep in debt for somebody who's trying to buy a house because the
Yeah.
bank looking at all
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for somebody who have money, that might be small things to them. But for a lot of people, like you say, if you're only making $30,000, that's a lot of debt.
That is a lot of money.
But I would say, write it out. And if you do feel like it's out of control, you would know if you feel like that.
Mm-hmm.
Get help professionally. I know some banks, depending on your loan officer, how friendly they are.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, you could go to them and say, hey, listen, I need a plan. Now, I'm not saying that I can work with everybody because it depends on who your people are. Or if you have good friends who are good with money, ask them for help.
Yeah.
Point you in the right directions. There are some financial advisors out there that, you might have to pay for. But sometimes you need help, but like,
But Tommy, if you $22,000 in debt, you think they could afford a financial advisor?
no. And
But that's also why like she said, if you have a
friend.
friend who's really good
Mhm.
at it, they can at least do their best to help you out to try to figure out,
Yeah.
especially depending on where your loan may be. We know that some banks
Ah,
they will kill you.
they cut throat.
They will kill you with the interest,
Mhm.
and you may just have to take your loan somewhere else.
And it could be that, like I said, you could go to a loan officer. If you have a good relationship with a loan officer, you can sit down, lay it all out and say, I need a plan to bring this down.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that may mean that you have to consolidate your debt.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is you take all of the debt that you have and you bundle them into
one debt product.
right, one debt product. And in that, sometimes you could get a lower interest rate because don't forget, credit card interest is what, 18, 20%?
Like 17, 18%, yeah.
Right, it's a lot. And so sometimes you could kind of bundle it all into one big loan that has one payment per month, sometimes a lower payment or a lower interest rate, depending on how. When I say payment, I mean, instead of paying it off in 10 months, you probably pay it off in 20 months instead. And so that brings your monthly payment down. Over time, you may spend more altogether that way, but at least you free up some
more
money.
manageable. Yeah.
Right, you free up some money in the
It
meantime.
gives you a little bit of relief.
Exactly. And then you have to kind of figure out, like, figuring out your debt management plan is really all about trying to figure out what works best for you at the time. Like, what can you manage? And then, so if you don't think that it's out of hand, your debt is out of hand, but you want to bring down your debt
Quickly.
right, quickly, you could use different methods. So you could say, okay, I want to use, there's one method called like the snowball method, where you lay out all of your loans, all of your credit card bills, and you say, okay, I'm gonna tackle the biggest one first, or I'm gonna tackle the smallest one first, and you pay the regular monthly payments for everything else, but the one that you want to tackle first, you add extra money to that every month. If you
I
have
see
the
people
extra
do this
money.
one a lot on TikTok.
Yeah, but it helps, me. Like, and then as you finish one, you move to the next one.
Yeah.
But you have to be consistent. You have to be persistent. Like you can't say, oh, I can stop this, and then you fall off.
Yeah.
Now, if you fall off for other reasons, things come up, life get lifey, that's different. But you have to keep at it. Eventually, it goes away, but like...
Yeah. I watch a few people on YouTube. Well, I haven't been watching much debt journey stuff recently, but there was a period of time I was down a debt journey wormhole on the internet, and I went there. And I would just follow people month by month as they would go through their budget with me or whatever, and just watching them pay the stuff down. And a lot of those people realized, well, hey, I need one little side hustle. A lot of them in the States, so like they could do something like a DoorDash, Postmates, Uber, Lyft, all of those
I was
things.
talking about the same thing with my friend last night because she lives in the States, obviously, and so I was trying to give her like things to do. I was like, well, why don't you just like Instacart? And she's like, but I ain't buying groceries. And I was like, you don't understand. Like, if I was in the States, I would Instacart immediately
There's
because
so many things.
I love buying groceries. Like, because I like to cook, but like, I love buying groceries. And that's something easy for me. Like, I wouldn't really feel like I work in. And she's like, well, who can lift the groceries to the people's step? And I'm like, girl, well, I didn't say girl, obviously, but I was like, girl, you lift your own groceries from your car to your house. Like, you are here asking me what are some things that you could do. I mean, we
Yeah.
are both brainstorming what are some things we can do,
mhm.
but you have a lot of more options at your disposal.
I feel like in the States, like there's so many things that you could do. You could just sit down and do surveys all day, and you
All
can make
day.
yourself some good change. I mean, like I have no idea exactly what our equivalent is to, some of the things that you could do. I mean, you
I
can
was gonna
drive
say
a
probably
craving, things like
doing,
that, right?
yeah, probably doing
Focus groups.
focus
But that's
groups.
only when they
But-
come up.
and they don't even give you cash. A lot of times for the focus groups, they give you like X off of your bill. No, it depends where the focus group is. So like, because I did a couple for cable bombers, and all they'd be like, "Oh, well, you don't have to pay your cable this month," but then it's like the basic package, and I don't have the basic because I got HBO because I wanted to watch Game of Thrones and live tweet, so I still gotta go pay the rest of my bill.
Well, BTC paid cash. And I appreciated
how
that
nice.
because I did 2 of them. And that was good little money.
Oh, nice.
I think that was like somewhere close to Christmas time. So
that
I
was
needed
great.
that. I needed it. At least it was before I decided to buy all my Christmas gifts. So it was more so October, November
Okay.
that we did it.
And that's another thing, like Christmas presents. I know Jasmine and I talk about this a lot, but Christmas every year.
Every year.
So why don't you budget for Christmas gifts?
Yeah, it can be as simple as putting aside. Well, I'm pretty
It
sure
depends.
everybody already knows how many people they're buying for from early on.
No, because sometimes some of these make me mad and then they off the list.
That's more money
That's
for you
more
to
money
spend.
for you to spend. I mean, just save. I know places like Seafall, like they have the Christmas saving
Yes,
thing.
and I signed up this year.
Or you
I
could
mean,
get a
I'm
few
probably
of your
going to use it
girlfriends
to buy my
together.
own gifts for my own self.
Or you get like a few of your girlfriends together and y'all say, listen, let's start a savings club, keep each other accountable for Christmas or for any other,
So I tried to do that this year with my girlfriend, and she was like, "Bye, girl." I mean, not to say that she's not saving and I'm not saving. I think she just did her own thing. Like,
And some people also
And she
just
left
ain't
me in
ready
the
for that
dust.
level of accountability.
No. And
She
money
left
is a
me in the
sticky
dust.
topic for a lot of people, That's a funny topic. I know there are certain people, I can't talk money with them.
Yeah.
Even if it's just me trying to help, I just know stay away from that topic.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a scary topic for a lot of people. And understandably so. We don't make no money.
I don't like. Jeez, my chest. I don't. I was gonna say I don't think that it's that you personally can't talk money. I just know that for whatever reason, they feel uncomfortable because I really don't care. Like, I mean, I'm not going to tell certain people what I make because then I know the next it's just like, hey, I might as well put it in the newspaper.
LOL.
But
Yeah.
I'm very comfortable like talking salary, talking about my bills, talking about what I spend, and I am a spender. I am not a saver, historically. Every year I say that this is my year to do better with money, and every year about midway through, it's just like, girl, you was lying.
I do
But
both.
I do my best.
I do both. I'm a spender and a saver.
Same.
To be honest.
Same.
Like, that's why I get my savings out of the way first.
It makes
That way I
sense.
know.
Right.
The
Like I
rest of
know,
us
I know,
is
I
me.
know. I'm a bad spender. If I don't write a list,
Oh,
it over
at the
for
grocery
me.
store,
It
if
over
I
for
don't go
me.
with a list,
It over for
$400
me.
later,
Cause why in the food store buying hoisin and I wasn't even planning on making
Right, and then you
Nothing
can't even use it. You
Asian.
can't even use
Nothing.
it before it
Nothing.
expires because you wasn't even planning on using it.
Did I miss
And
and
that's
open
me.
it and then I put it in the cupboard?
That's me.
I forget. I put it in the cupboard then
and then
it's fuzzy.
I go in a fresh market and I buy an apple to cost $4 each because these
Yeah.
taste good.
Like I hate going in any store, any beauty store, because I pick up things and I just be like, yeah, I need this. And you get home, I get home and I'm like,
I go on a
I
happy
don't
year
need none of
tomorrow
this.
and I know
I just bought the same shampoo last week.
I know what it's about to be. So I think a lot of things that people really have to get better with before they could get better with money is like talking
Yeah.
about money.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't necessarily know who could be around you that can help you get better. Like I
Yeah.
said, I went to Tammy. Tammy know. I mean, she don't know now because I make a little bit more. But Tammy know what I make, and Tammy just was like, "It's okay, girl. You could find a few dollars to save.
Yeah. Yeah. And then too sometimes, until you could do better, you might have to sacrifice a few things.
Or work a little harder.
Work a
it
little
may mean
harder.
it may mean having to. Okay, you don't want to go outside of your job to do something. So see if you could get some overtime, like whatever it is. If you set some goals for yourself, if you know you want to take down your debt or you want to save up for a particular thing within a certain amount of time, like say you have a birthday trip coming up and you want to make sure you have $2,000 spending money. But right now you only have
Things are tight.
A little $300.
$300, $400, but your birthday in 6 months. What are you going to do?
In that 6 months.
Right.
How do I make sure I have enough so I feel comfortable doing what I have to do?
And then too, sometimes it's not necessarily like big sacrifices, Sometimes it could be instead of buying $20 lunch every day, because some of these places are expensive, maybe choose 3 days of the week to say, I can take
lunch
some
every
lunch.
day?
I don't buy $20.
No.
Absolutely not. But I think that for me, because I don't have a family, these are the married girls today.
Oh, jeez. Brother.
Oh, brother. Because I don't have a family, like, to me, buying lunch and cooking lunch, like, the price is honestly comparable. Because I could go to the supermarket and I could spend, let's say, $200 a week.
Well, she's buy expensive things at the grocery store.
I do. I can't lie. Like, when people talk about sacrifice, one place I'm not going to sacrifice is
food.
at the food store. Like, I'm Rupert Roberts. Getting money from Zena is easy, Like, that's what
It's
he told
very
people.
easy.
It's
Very easy. But
so that's one thing. So for me, like, eating out and buying food from the food store is comparable. So when people say, like, oh, just don't eat out this week, like, honestly, it's better for me to actually go
So, Zena,
to GRK or to Wendy's or whatever than to cook.
So we know food is the one area that you're not
No.
going to touch, right?
No.
But if you had to say, let's say in the next 6 months, you had this big girls trip you was planning and you need to save up for that, what would you choose to sacrifice it out of your life?
My
right
nails.
now? Okay.
I'll take them off right now.
Oh, no way.
No, this one?
That's
No.
a mainstay. That's a mainstay in my budget.
I love my
already
click
know
clacks,
I
but
go in every couple of weeks. That in there.
Mhm.
If it mean that it's certain items. Let's see. What would I cut back on?
realistically,
Mhm.
Probably grocery. I've done it with grocery before. Now, mind you, I can spend some money in the food store, but there are some times where I would look and be like, well, hey, this gotta do. Somebody
Well,
got this birthday or whatever. If
yeah.
I know, especially if it's birthdays after birthdays, I already know I go into dinner plenty times. So that means I can do
shop
some,
at the grocery store. Less.
I can go to the food store, get some things so the people in my house could survive. Because I ain't gonna run out. Next
No.
thing you know, a bunch of food spoiling because I
Yeah,
going out to
'cause I
dinner
going out to
right.
eat.
every
Right.
weekend.
I think, well, for me, I don't like to sacrifice.
Me
My
neither.
food budget is high though. Like,
But
Same.
I would
Same.
say I get creative. So if you don't want to sacrifice and you know that you have something come up and you need to save, get creative. Like I like to,
Yeah.
DIY stuff.
And
Not everybody likes stuff
Tammy
like
is a
that.
budgetista.
But I
when
know
you
one
say
thing.
Get creative. What you saying?
Okay.
My mind.
All right, so let me
going
give you an
far.
example, right? Let me give you an example. So the food prices they're going up.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this because I do the grocery shopping for our house.
Mm-hmm.
And a can of tuna is more like a can of crab now. Like
Not the kind of crowd, girl.
they're expensive. But so what I started doing, I said, you know what? I can cap my budget. Or rather, my husband said I'm gonna cap the budget. We chose to say we're gonna cap the budget for the month.
Mm-hmm.
And what we could do with that, let's try and see what we could do. So what I've started doing is I've tried to only go grocery shopping once a month. Because I found
Girl, that
found
sound like the Hunger Games. I mean,
no,
like,
it's not the
I
Hunger Games. And I got you
So
had my
tell me.
lasagna the other day, right?
I had your lasagna.
My lasagna was good, right?
Your lasagna was busting.
That was almost the end of the month type of lasagna, Like what I did.
That's
So what I did, I said, I'm not-
little spooky lasagna.
But it was so what I said.
all kind of side things and that's all I hearing. That's all I hearing.
Good though.
All
It was
type
good.
of
That lasagna was good. But let me tell you, no, what I started doing was I started getting creative. So I said, okay, I have a bad habit of going to the grocery store And then like every week I still going back and I forget something.
Mm-hmm.
So one, I started really, really, really writing on my list.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I did is instead of just writing my list for things that I know go on missing, I write out what I know I might feel like cooking.
Okay.
But I buy enough things that I could, if I say, you know what, I wanted some crab cakes. And then I don't feel like making the crab cakes, but I buy the crab already. I might say, let's do some seafood lasagna instead because I have the stuff in the pantry already,
Mm-hmm.
right? But like things that I know I can pivot with quickly in the kitchen if I don't really feel like eating. But I write out mock meals to say, okay, I need all of these things for the month, right?
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I might go back for is if I need some fresh veggies.
Yeah. Okay then.
So that's what
You
I
know,
was going to
'cause-
ask.
'cause,
Because
yeah,
when you say a month, like,
Yeah.
No, but I rarely, for the last 3 months, I did not have to go back in between shopping. So what I started doing as well is I started, I'm not saying this is for everyone now. Don't
make
quote me.
soup and freeze it.
Right. But my soup is pretty good.
Listen, don't sleep on the frozen soup now. By the
No,
time you warm
I'm
it up
not.
again,
That tastes
yes, it's
like
the same
fresh.
thing.
It tastes fresh.
But
it tastes fresh.
They're completely
and it's seasoned.
different.
Yeah.
But
And then you can make a little bread. Or you could just go and buy
I learned how
one.
to make bread.
Yeah, you can just
Yeah,
buy
or
one.
you
it
could
was
just
very
buy
good.
it.
But I
Make it
mean,
fancy, make one Johnny bread or whatever like that, man.
right. So what I started doing is like a lot of like my vegetables and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it works for me because my daughter doesn't like certain things, right? I would buy like vegetables in bulk, wash them up, clean them up, put half in the fridge, half the next half. I cut them up and I put them in the freezer. And I just find meals that go with that
That you
type,
already
right?
have.
Yeah.
So if I know I had sweet potato in the fridge, I might say, okay, I can make some sweet potato fries. But coming down to the end of the month, if I only have my sweet potato in the freezer, I might say, you know what, let me do some soup. Or let me do a hash or something that requires me to cook those because I know whatever goes in the freezer, I cook in those. They can't go in salads or nothing fresh.
Yeah.
Or they go in smoothies. But at the same time, like I stretch as much as I can to get to the end of the month. And the meals are good. Like we're not eating noodles and hot dog by the end of the month or Chef Boyardee at the end of the month. Like the meals are good. So
Yeah, I
it's not
cut you
for
off.
everyone.
I cut you off. No, but so now that you say it like that, I completely agree. So there actually was some time that I realized that I was gonna have to spend more money than I had intended to or whatever. So what I did, I literally, it was Chop Kitchen in my house. It was what I have.
Mhm.
So if I know I got rice or if I know I got this random pasta, just whatever, we eating with here.
Right. And it tastes
And we
good.
can do our best.
And if you could cook,
You
if
can make it
cook,
happen.
You could make it happen.
I think that's key too. You gotta be able to cook. You gotta be able to know how to
to mix and match
Yeah.
flavors and textures.
Not only, because it's like you could literally look on the web online and you could be like, I have.
This an unfair point of view though, because all of us here could cook.
Right.
We
So that's
we
what
all
I'm saying. If
actually
you can't
could
really
cook.
cook, you could go online. You could be like, I have rice. I have this. I have that. I have that. And you could be like, what recipes can
Yeah.
I?
Yumly is good for that.
Yes. Can I make that use these things?
Mhm.
And then
TikTok is also good for that.
love it. Love it.
I think not a recipe, another website. I think it's called allrecipes.com. I think you
I
could
love
literally
All
put
Recipes.
in you could
you
put
could put in
your
the ingredients you
that
have, and that's it.
Mhm.
So, like, when it comes to shopping, obviously, I already say I spent a lot of money. But what I started doing this year is because I anticipated that this year was going to be a Xena girl. You doing it. You saving your money kind of year. That's not happening anymore because I've already been invited on like 4 trips. But
when the trips is.
one in November, so I have time.
Yeah. Good time.
So I don't know when
So
I don't know
that
when the other
means
ones.
How much are you pulling aside for your November trip from now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So what I started doing is like I would write, like Tammy say, like things I know I feel like I might want to cook, and I'd write down everything I need for that, and like I'd get all those stuff and I'd go to the store. So then the next week I'd be like, okay, what do I currently have,
Right.
and let me try and make stuff that go with that. So I need to buy like a couple more things, and like then I'd keep doing that week by week. So somehow, each week I spent a little less, a little less, a little less. I mean, the first week obviously is like the restock. So I spent a lot of money. But like every week after that, like I wasn't really spending crazy like I usually do in the food store.
Yeah.
Because I'd be the type of person who go in the food store and be like, okay, Zena, you know, I'm just gonna give a random number. Like you spending $150.
Mm-hmm.
I come to the food store, I spend $300. Like, and this happened to me religiously
Especially when you decide you want to make lasagna and cheesecake.
in one
That
week.
even makes sense.
In 1 week, that don't make
And
no sense.
that's too expensive. Meals.
Too expensive
Yep.
A
things.
little expensive.
And lasagna is like one of my favorites.
Mhm.
So I mean, I don't make it that often, but and I also now do this thing where I make cake literally every Sunday.
I noticed that you
I've seen.
did.
And I don't see the cake.
I realized that there are no
Well,
desserts here.
I brought desserts last week, but this week I gave my desserts to my workout friends.
They don't need that. They're trying to get skinny.
Well, that's the same thing I said. That's the same thing I said. And they was like, but no, you just have a cheat day. Or, everything with moderation.
I was looking forward to that strawberry frosting though.
So,
I saw that and I was just like,
I did
I
give it to my
wonder.
workout friends this week. So I got to find a way, to bring my desserts both to workout and to dinner.
but I know it's a little random.
With
But
Jay-Z.
my lasagna was made with all frozen vegetables. But I froze myself.
But that's
That was good.
understandable.
It was good. It was amazing.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, if you're gonna try a method like that, that doesn't necessarily mean you cut down on the quality of food that you eat.
No.
It just means that you gotta preserve some of it.
Mhm.
And it works for me because, like I said, like I have a 2-year-old, and the only time I can get her to eat vegetables right now is if it's cooked in food. So it works for me. If you're somebody who need their fresh salad and stuff every day, that might not necessarily work. So you might have to find another way to be creative.
I like it, but it was wasted in my, one person
Yeah.
household.
Yeah.
But like
I
fruits,
think that's why, like, even with greens, I've been thinking like, well, right now we kind of good. We eat all our greens, so it's cool. I wish back in the day, like, every time you'd be like, I'm getting healthy, I can start this thing again. You go buying the big old thing of spinach.
no, don't
Big
do
old
that.
thing of spinach is turning into brown
Mush.
pool.
Just
Freeze
liquid.
it.
Just
Freeze it.
Yeah.
the spinach.
Omelette.
I actually like frozen, but like when you freeze the kale, that is start tasting with.
You think so? I've never experienced that because what I do is I'll
Well,
put
I
my
only
kale.
put it in smoothies, so maybe that's why I notice it.
Maybe because it's still kind of raw.
Yeah.
Because what I do with my kale is I put it like in omelets, or if I had to freeze it, put in omelets and soups.
Oh,
Or
yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
like even if I do like, I guess like pastas and stuff, I cut them up fine and put them in that. But it's
Yeah.
cooked down, so I don't.
No, I only used to put it in smoothies, so maybe that's why it tastes weird.
Okay, so what about people who they don't have our grocery struggle, right? They don't cook and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
but instead they like to eat out, but they still want to eat out because they ain't cooking.
Mhm.
So then,
Which is
what
suggest-
So
should they do?
you mean they eating out every day? Like I mean like they want to eat out every day, or like, or they just a special occasion.
Just
they
their
like
No,
to eat out?
lifestyle.
this
Their
their
lifestyle.
lifestyle.
Their
Their
lifestyle
lifestyle
is-
is
Then
eating out.
honestly, I guess, boy, they might have to find another area to cut back on, or really kind of map out the type of restaurants that they're going to be going to, because not so expensive.
They also need to start asking their friends if you cook.
Maybe.
I could bring one little. I could bring a
a-
bottle of wine, or
Yeah,
Maybe. I know.
I mean, my friends don't hesitate to
if I
say
don't
that,
if I don't
so-
have it, I'm not going. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And like how we do sometimes, we have a potluck every now and again, and it don't necessarily just have to be around Girlsgiving, but things like that work. Like you might,
You may
somebody might be
only had
close
enough money. You may have only had enough money to make some mashed potato,
right?
and ain't nothing wrong with that. You can leave there with
with a meal,
food,
yeah.
because you can eat there, and you're
And you
taking
have
food
food
home,
to
because
take.
that's usually how much food we end up making anyhow.
Yep.
So I mean, listen, you really just got to get smart, get
Yeah.
creative about certain
Or
things.
you might have a friend who you could instead of paying to eat out, you could say, hey, if I bring some groceries to you, would you mind helping me meal prep? Even if I give you a few dollars for this, but it might be less than what you were spending out.
If you was my friend and you would do that for me, let me know.
People
'Cause I would
Message
take
me,
it
message me now.
tonight.
I do it for my friends that have babies. Like
I don't have any friends right now that have babies, but like,
no, like for example,
We can
like I
pretend
had,
my child is a baby.
like
yeah.
no, I mean like so I had a friend who's like postpartum, and I
Mhm.
just used to cook for them because cooking hard. But like,
Yeah.
but I say that to say that you have friends that will do stuff like
you
that
have
for
to
you.
know.
You have friends who would do stuff like that for you.
So you just bring your $20.
Yeah. Sometimes when I cook, I call up a friend, be like, hey, y'all have food, y'all need some food, and I drop it to them, or they come and pick it up. But, I mean,
You need to add me to the subscription
Same.
list.
I mean, you live
Man,
kind of
you
far
live far
though.
from me,
You
man.
live kind
I
of
used to be
far.
hungry too,
You
there.
live
Just
kinda
because I used to
far.
be cooking home don't mean I always want to eat my
Yes.
own food. Sometimes I want to eat someone
Somebody
else's
else.
food.
Come on.
Shoot. I want to eat that pizza without there now. And I cook tonight.
Oh wow. Well, I did not.
But yeah, you just
Starvation when I
kind of
return
just
home.
get, you know, if you're somebody who like to eat out, or you could just learn to cook. If you don't want to learn to cook, then maybe you have to find some other aspects of your life that you're willing to get creative with or sacrifice. And if you don't want to sacrifice at all, then you may need to move into tech and make 6 figures, because that's where the money at.
Once again, the person
you
making
are making
$375,000. Please.
Send me a DM. I mean it.
Are you single? If you ain't single, can your gal fight? I asked it for my friends.
I mean, even if she can't fight, is she looking for a third? Like, is it a polyamorous situation? Because you could afford 2 wives on that salary. Just saying.
Well, you know.
Yeah, but sometimes you just gotta get creative, especially knowing our situation in the Bahamas.
It
With
rough.
salaries,
It
you have
rough.
to get creative, but like whether that means you start sacrificing certain things, or that means you getting really creative and starting, you know, DIY projects and stuff like that. But if you have a goal, a savings goal, and it's very aggressive, you need to don't eat noodles, not get really, that ain't really healthy. But
I'm not doing that.
you know, I'm just saying, like, find ways to do it.
Okay, so what would be your advice to someone who feels like the only way they could save for like a down payment for a house is to noodles and hot dog it for
That's on
a
them.
year?
That's on them. Like, it depends. It depends.
Are you going to make it into your house?
I personally wouldn't advise people to do that, because you sacrifice in health for for a house. But I would say this: if you're considering buying a house, it's very expensive. You don't just think about the down payment. You need to think of all those other fees the bank got on you.
You need your
Your
legal-
lawyer fees. You have a lot of things going on. But if you have an aggressive savings goal, and you think that eating noodles and hot dog every day is going to get you there, maybe try finding some other alternatives to noodles and hot dogs. So I follow this guy on TikTok. I can't remember his TikTok name, but he in the States. But I was wondering if I could do it over here, because I'd like to do a challenge. I'd like to make it a challenge.
Do it.
Where
I'll join you.
he makes $5 meals, but he goes to the dollar store to get all the stuff. So I just feel like nice little, you know.
I can't join
I would like
you.
to try a
I
challenge
can't
like that
join
over
you.
here, but it
Or the
wouldn't-
dine on the line thing. That Hands for Hunger.
That was
does.
rough.
I have never tried that.
I ain't doing that.
I'm not gonna do it.
I ain't gonna
No.
lie. I'm
I don't
never
think-
gonna fool myself.
I'm just
into
gonna
believing
donate
I
the
can do
money
that
because
foolishness.
I can't. Everyone who does it, like they always tweeting or on Facebook or Instagram talking about sadness and despair. And I understand, like, you know, the whole
That's the
point
point.
of the challenge.
Yeah.
Like that's the point.
It's the point.
But like, you know what it is? I in my office begging people for packets of sugar to like make my meal.
One ketchup though.
Like,
So you can
I'm not
make
gonna
one
lie.
team.
I'm not gonna
So
lie.
you can make a steamed tuna.
Because I ain't laughing. Mm-mm. That's a
I'm
good challenge.
happy.
It's a good challenge. But
It is a good challenge.
I wouldn't
challenge.
do that particular challenge, but I'm just saying, like,
And so, like, I support your challenge, but I still can't do that because, like, you saying you do it at the dollar store. So, what is the equivalent here?
yeah. But okay, so back to
Extra volume.
the
That
saving-
happening.
Where the
That
woman-
happening. That
Where the woman
happening.
nanny in the eye.
She literally pulled down her
So-
pants. I was like, one
I
corner,
even-
please.
I'm not even hearing this. I'm not hearing it.
One corner, please.
I ain't hearing that. Mm-mm. I ain't hearing that.
Sorry, Tommy.
She had to go away. The belly was rumbling. But anyways.
But like, go in your car. Go in your car.
She may not have had a car.
Nanny up your car, please.
She may not have had a car.
Why you nannying in the people food store?
anyways, we ain't talking about this.
She don't have a bathroom.
La, 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 la.
But yes, Tammy, what would you encourage people to do if they feel like one noodles and hot dog
So
for the month?
I think that goes back to also writing out your plans, right? So you might say, okay, for me personally, that's not healthy, right? So instead of cutting back there, you kind of might have to live, depending on how aggressive your saving goal is. If you know you need to get this house within a year and you have to save up X amount of money to get there, you might say, okay, well, let me look at my lifestyle. Right now, I go to the gym every day a week. Maybe I stop paying the gym membership and work out at home for a little bit, right? this is for an aggressive goal only without eating hot dog and noodles.
I don't even go
you
to
know.
the gym, but like,
But I mean, like maybe your lifestyle is lavish. Well,
Mhm.
lavish. I'm gonna put that in air quotes because
It might not.
lavish
It might
means
not be.
different
lavish
things.
is relative.
Mhm.
So it might be you spend a lot of money at Market. I'm not using them because they're really expensive. And you say, you know what, I have this goal. I don't want to eat hot dogs and noodles. Let me maybe work out at home. You have a lot of nice YouTube fitness channels, and just for the year, you don't have to do it like permanently. Or you might say, you know what, I know I'm just get my hair done at the salon and this girl expensive. Maybe I need to start doing my hair at home for the year until I reach my goal. It's not like an ongoing thing. But instead of saying I'm only going to be eating noodles and hot dog, you could cut back on other things possibly to be able to make that goal. And like I say, if this isn't a aggressive saving goal, then you have to make some aggressive choices.
Yeah.
You know? So instead of eating just noodles and hot dogs, work out at home. Get your hair done at home. Buy your own nail stuff and do your nails at home. But like,
Like,
I'd rather take my nails off first. I mean, we already established this.
right, but
I'd
I'm just
rather cut
saying,
my
I'm just
own
saying,
off.
like,
I'd rather take my nails
if
off
your
first.
goal is that aggressive, you need to make some aggressive decisions.
Okay, so Tammi,
Mhm.
what would be your suggestions for someone who is just trying to like dip their toe into the investment world? Like, what's a starter?
but just give us a teaser though, because we have to bring you back
Yeah,
to
we
talk about
yeah. What's a
investment.
starter investment?
Mutual funds.
Who you call?
So okay,
Ghostbusters.
so a mutual fund. I just can quickly explain it. A mutual fund is something where an investment manager takes person's money, right, and pulls them into one investment account
Mhm.
and invests on their behalf. So persons who don't have $50,000 to put in a brokerage account, you might say, okay, I have like 5,000,
Mhm.
2,000. Shoot, in some cases I might only have 500 to start with. So you would go to the investment advisor. So investment managers. So persons, not persons, firms over here that deal with mutual funds, and this is in no way, shape, or form an advertisement, but you have places like Royal Fidelity.
Mhm.
I think it's called SLRF now. CFAL, Leno, Investor. I trying to think, make sure I capture all of them. But these are some of the firms that I know of that have um, mutual funds.
Mhm.
And mutual funds there are different types. So you could have Bahamian-based mutual funds. So what it does is it exposes you to multiple investments in one fund, and you don't have the responsibility for choosing where your money goes specifically. In terms of, I want to invest in, say, Cable Bahamas. So you don't. The mutual fund, you look at what's included in the mutual fund. So you have like in Bahamian-based, sorry, mutual funds. Some of them is like U.S. based, so you get some exposure to the international market. Sometimes it's a mix between Bahamian and international, and then you have it based on your risk appetite. So if you're somebody who you're not really into getting risky, you have some lower risk mutual funds that invest like in lower risk things like government bonds and things like that, or safer stocks. Then you have some, like middle ground, some risky, some not so risky, and then you have like high risk stuff that invests in like things that could possibly yield maybe 15%. But the downside of those types of investments is
You could lose it.
you could
lose
lose
that.
it. You could lose it. And what the mutual fund does is it kind of helps you to diversify your options, so that you're not exposed to all of the risk that comes with just one stock, bond, or other investment product. So I'd say you want to start. That's a good place to start. You start to learn how interest works. You start to learn how to read investment statements and stuff like that, because you get your statement, however, whether it be monthly, quarterly, yearly. So I think that's a really good place to start with, like. And some of them you could start with as low as $100, depending on who you go to. I can't say now at the top of my head exactly who does it. But yeah, I'd say that's probably the best in terms of the Bahamian market.
Yeah. I would really love to have you back so we could really deep dive into
Yes.
investing, because a lot of people, especially people our age, who didn't really know anything about investing before, but now hearing about it, they want to know like how to do it. So when we do have you back, I would love for us to really deep dive into that. So as we wrap this show, I kind of want to ask you, You've already kind of touched on why you got into getting into financial literacy, but what are some thoughts that you want to leave us with when it comes to financial literacy?
So financial literacy isn't something that automatically gets you rich. What it's about is about understanding, one, all of the financial jargon that's out there,
Mm-hmm.
understanding your financial situation, right? And it's also about helping you to make wise decisions. What's wise for you may not necessarily be wise for Zena,
Right.
and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps you to it puts you in a position to understand your options financially, right? Um, it's nothing to be ashamed of if you don't understand. It's not something that you learn in schools. For a lot of us, it's not something that you learn in the homes.
Right.
So don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. And that's kind of why I brought Cays the coins out. Really it's a free resource. You could go on the website. You could read up on it. You know, I think I'm a nice person. If you DM me and you ask me questions, I will answer to the best of my knowledge. But don't be ashamed. There are a lot of good resources out there now coming out. But the big thing is, don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. Like, it's not taught. It's
Yeah.
not taught. You made bad financial decisions. Fine, everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
You know, pick up and brush yourself off. But resources are out there now. And you have to make up that in your mind that I want to do better financially. And if you do, help out there, babe.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I just want to thank you so much for being the very first guest on our show. So yeah, this is her first episode doing this with us, but it's not gonna be her last. More than likely, she'll be a recurring guest because she has a wealth of knowledge,
And we love Tammi.
and we do, we really do.
Aww,
Hopefully
I
next time
appreciate
she bring that lasagna though.
that was good.
And
though.
She didn't bring
clearly,
the lasagna.
and clearly
Sienna can bring
since they mentioned it, I have to bring the treats.
and I just can bring the wine. I mean, because I need to bring nothing else. I can
Just bring
I
yourself.
can bring the wine.
As always, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. Like I said last time, and I'm going to say it probably every episode, I hope you all have the night you deserve.
You could find us at Dinner with Jay-Z on Twitter and Instagram. Be sure to share this pod if you really liked it, especially if you have anybody in your life who you think would benefit from hearing about financial literacy and budgeting, investing, all of those things that we talked about tonight. And if you didn't know, as always, this is a solid pod.